I just realized this is the Tic Tac show. So Tic Tac, Tic Tac, Tic Tac. People, ladies, gentlemen, welcome very back. Welcome. You're very welcome back to the first episode of the Tic Tac Transfer Show of 2023. Uh, Joining me to discuss the latest murmurings after the Jurgen Klopp press conference and the rumors that are circulating, I have Cav with me. Cav, hope you are very well. Hope you're enjoying this bank holiday, another bank holiday weekend, isn't it?
I know, yeah, another one. I didn't even realize this
Ah,
was one till yesterday. And then I said something to someone. I was like, I'll be there on Monday. It's like, no, you won't. I was like, what? He was like, it's bank holiday. I was like, is there any great feeling than being told that you've got Monday off work?
it's mad. It's mad because it's like the third one, isn't it? Like third one
Mm.
within a short space of time. So yeah, and the weather
Well,
uplifts the mood until we hear about Liverpool transfers and Liverpool press conferences and Liverpool. Everything else is wonderful. Everything else lifts your mood until we start talking about Liverpool, it seems. Dylan Fletcher says, looking forward to this. Hopefully our targets are still interested, even with no Champions League. Dylan, we will be getting into this, touching on to this, and many other talking points. We will be going through the press conference, what was said, what was hot, what was not, what was positive, what wasn't. What did people's takes on it? Me and Cav will be giving our takes on it. Feel free to give your takes on it. Later on in the show, we will be discussing the rumors circulating. I've heard a couple of bits as well, so I'll be sharing what I've heard. You know how it works. If you don't believe me, no problem. Just laugh it off as you do. Any abuse, you'll be taken out of the chat. Any abuse, you'll be blocked. Come on, you guys know the drill. You guys know the drill. 100 of you guys in here already. Like the stream if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't. We want to get 30k before the start of the season. That is our dream, our aim, and we hope to do so. What? How long is the off season now, Cav? Is it 6 weeks?
yeah, it'll be August we come back, won't it? So you've got June, July,
June?
yeah,
No, more than
about
6
a
weeks.
bit longer, probably about 10. You probably got about 8-10 weeks.
8-10 weeks. What a
Yeah.
break! Wow.
Mm.
We definitely want to hit. We definitely want to hit 30k before the season starts. 100%. Got a super chat of the night. People, get your comments, opinions, suggestions in. LFC Aaron sends in a super chat and says, "Good evening, everyone. Smash the like button, please, everyone. Big up, Grizz and Kev." Aaron, that's very kind of you. Just to ask everyone to smash a like button and send in a super chat as a part of that. Thank you very much. I thought you were going to ask us a question or something. Well, so humbled by that. Thank you very much. Nikki says, "I love Grizz," or "Love Grizz. I love you." Is what it is, right? Well, that's what. But isn't that? But I'm one of those, Cav. Treat people how they treat you. Now, sometimes that can work. I don't know. Sometimes it's not the best way of looking at life. I don't know what your theory in life is.
Nah, always be kind. Always be kind.
Regardless.
Be nice.
I
And
can't
it
do
comes
that.
back around.
I wish I could do that, Cav. People that are pricks, right? I've got such a low tolerance for these days. I used to just ignore, but now if I see a prick, pause. If I see someone being stupid, right? Really, really stupid, I tend to be dragged down to their level and be stupid back. That's weird, man. As you get older, you're supposed to get mature and smarter.
Yeah, you are, Grizzy, right?
That's
I don't know.
mad.
I just find that if it's not contributing to the conversation or what it is you're doing, I just doesn't affect me in any kind of way. Like stupidness for the sake of being stupid just is like, not bothered about this bit.
Well, Zane's like you. He says, I'm more like Cav, to be honest with you. Always just be kind. Oh, we've got love from Pakistan. Grizz boy, massive respect and love for Pakistan. Absolutely amazing. How old is Grizz? As if Grizz is going to answer that live on stream. Like, what kind of question is that even? How do you ask someone how old they are? Like, not that I'm embarrassed about it or anything, but it's just like, Mighty Red says you just need a break from football, Grizz. I think we all do. And I think, are you looking forward to the break, Liverpool? Or is it one of those ones, the season that we've had, you just can't wait to get back and fix the problems and wrong the right, so to speak?
Yeah, it's been a lot this season. Like not only like bad performances, bad results, but people talking about books that have been released, people talking about, is Klopp even in charge anymore? Is it Linda's? People have started analysing more intensely the backroom staff and what's going on, at board level. And they were talking about transfers whilst games are still happening. And it's a lot. It is a lot. And you can't really avoid it because obviously we love football and like we want to watch the games. We want to talk about the games. And it's everywhere. So it's been a very up and down season. And then to end it all, we get given a glimmer of hope of top four. And then we don't get top four. So we've never really had a break from when we started way back in August. So yeah, I am looking forward to a bit of downtime, and now we can just try and enjoy looking forward to next season, and like transfers contributes towards that, because we can get into a period we're going into now where we're like, what can we achieve next season? Where do we need to improve? And it's all forward thinking, and I like that. I like getting excited about what we can potentially achieve, because it's a fresh start once you pick a ball come August. So yeah, it's I'm pleased it's over with, and I'm looking forward to the break in that aspect. What about you? Are you, because you still be active a lot over the summer? Are you
I reckon for the first time, Aaron's got a brilliant wise what's it called, wise saying here: you catch more bees with honey than you do with a swat.
Oh, I like that, Aaron.
Yeah, I know.
I've never heard that before.
That's a good one. That's why I
great.
started that. That's why I started. That's a good one. I don't know, Cav. I don't know how I feel right now. We could do with a break. And I'm talking from everything like content creation, from work, from football, anything football related, basically. But then sometimes, like when you've had a loss in a game, any level, when we play 5 or 6 aside, or Liverpool or whatever level, you just can't wait to fix it. Like you don't want to go long with that feeling lingering in your head that, oh shit, we played shit. We could have been done so much better. I could have played this formation. I could have done this. I would have picked this. We do it in our everyday sports lives, or if we play football. Imagine what Klopp and co are going through. I don't know. I've got a feeling Klopp and players and coaches alike are probably itching to get back. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to gauge.
We'll talk about in a bit, but there was a certain player that put out a post airing his frustrations at lack of what we achieved this season, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit. But I feel like the players probably want to get back and want to right the wrongs of this season. But I think the proper thing to do is actually go away. I'm talking from the players' point of view. Go away from football. Clear your mind, come back fresh, and come back excited. Do you know what I mean? Come back looking forward to the start of a new season, and leave the previous season behind you, and be trying to be positive as much as possible.
It was for sure a season to forget. Andrew suggests this season reminds me so much of Klopp's LFC that went on to the Europa League final, which was his first Liverpool season. That was the first season, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the first season. Went to the Europa League final. The team that he built for greatness eventually. Hope Klopp 2.0, LFC 2.0 will be as successful as their predecessors. Clav, if his next 4 years yields, he's got 4 years left, isn't he, in the contract? If it yields another Premier League and another Champions League and another FA Cup and another League Cup, I'll be over the moon, and there won't be anyone happy. We'll be talking about this team for centuries to come, if that's the case, right?
Yeah, that'd be incredible. That really would. And it's an incredible achievement if we went on to do that for the remainder of his stint. But when you consider who you'd have to beat along the way, you think about Man City and what they've been doing for a while now and what they'll probably continue to do. And then you think about the potential of Newcastle and their rise. You think about maybe the comeback of United and maybe their potential takeover. Chelsea, if they sort of figure out, if they get, their manager in the door and he clears that squad a little bit and gets some playing. You've got to beat some very, very good teams along the way to achieve that. So if we did manage to get all of them trophies, it would be an incredible thing. And you'd like to think if that's the end of Klopp's time at Liverpool, he'd believe in a good squad and a good setup behind as well for the next man. So, yeah, that would be that would be what I think he'll be hoping to achieve as well.
100%. Daz is in the building. Daz used to be a regular on the call-in show. Remember that? Remember the call-in show? Look, it's my fault. I've been way too busy. I need to fix up. I need to get the call-in show again. Daz says, gonna enjoy the final Sunday, then try and just forget about football for 2-3 weeks. Yeah, why not? Why not? Mayor says some players need a rest and break back stronger next week. Got a couple of super chats before we get into some of the talking points that you've already touched upon as well. Excuse me. Kay says, let's say we sign 5 players. Who are your 5 realistic signings from the rumours and chat? As always, love the content. How the hell do we answer that, Cav?
Well, there's names been bandied around. It feels like.
Well, first and foremost, I'd say 5 signings would be happy. More than happy if there's 5 incomings. Let's start off with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, what's the most we've done in a summer of late? We did 4.
I think it's 4, isn't it?
Last summer, didn't we? I can't recall a summer we've done more than that, to be honest. And when we say 5 players, we're assuming that they're 5 players that will be in and amongst that first team as well. You know, starters, if not, you know, options off the bench. We're not talking about youngsters that are gonna go back out on loan and stuff like that. So that would be a bit of a change with regards to our strategy and what we usually do. But certainly, I think some people think we'll need that many. What do you think, Grizz? How many do you think we do need this summer?
I've been very vocal, and we've done so many shows in the last 6 months. And then it's coming down to the last couple of months where the window's getting nearer and nearer, and we're kind of discussing between mates. Essentially, that's what we do, right? We try to bring real life fan chat, onto a platform and share our experiences and opinions. And that's what we do. We don't claim to be better fans or lesser fans for that, or more knowledgeable fans. And we've been discussing between ourselves like we would in a coffee shop, in a pub, in a bar, wherever. And I think we all come to an agreement that there's surely got to be minimum to minimum 3, Cav, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then anything up to whatever. But let's be realistic. 3 to 5 would be my request to Liverpool and the hierarchy and the owners and whatever, because we've discussed to death 3 midfielders. And I think for sure a centre back. And we're going to go on to discuss the topic of today because there was an inquiry from a club about a centre back for us, that there's a claim or there's a suggestion I'm going to put out there that I'd go for 2 defenders, but we'll get into that. What's yours?
Okay. I certainly think we need 3 midfielders, I would say, and a centre back. I'd like to see us get 4. I mean, it depends. When we talk about this, I mean, what do we realistically think we can achieve next season? Because I think that let's say this squad made no signings, right? That's not going to happen, guys. Don't worry. But let's say this no players were added to this squad and we went into next season. I think the squad's good enough. It should be in the top 4. So then you're looking at, okay, what positions above the 4th spot do we realistically think we could get? Do we think we could challenge for the title? And I think to challenge for the title, we would definitely need 3 midfielders in, to be honest with you. And they'd need to, certainly 2 of them need to have Prem experience or just hit the ground running. You know, they're first teamers and they come in and they make an impact straight away for us to challenge for a title. So I would like 3 plus a centre back. I think sounds like everybody's kind of in agreement that the forward line is pretty good for another season at least, with the people we've got in there.
Yus reminds us Julia did 7 in one day. Of course he did. Yes, that was the maximum. That included, I believe, 2 goalkeepers, wasn't it? Yeah. So that was the record one, I believe. Nidhi, my partner on Brown Monday, the show that's dedicated to me speaking my mother tongue. Yeah, I think it's fair to say, or practicing or trying to speak it. It's a lot of fun. He says this season just dragged on and on and on, more so with the World Cup, and is being substandard with most clubs around us improving didn't help. It was like watching Lord of the Rings on mute. Yeah. Niddy's always brings the brilliant analogies. There was another super chat that I wanted to get through. Jesvin says, Chris, is there anything in the links to the pacey centre back from Wolfsburg? Yes, I do believe there is something to it, and we will discuss that at a later show. But Mickey van den Ben or something. Don't know if you saw the clip of him, Cav, going around on Twitter, where he's chasing back a lost cause, like the goalkeeper's, I think it's a corner or something, one of those situations, and the attacker's gone through and he chases back. And there's suggestions that it's sped up. But then there's suggestions that no, this is really, he's that quick. I don't know if you've seen it. It's unreal.
Wow. No, I've not seen it. But
see if you can Google it while we chat in a minute. But see if you can
I'll have a look.
Like Twitter, or like this is his name, Mickey van der Ven, and then if you just type in speed or something, you'll see the video. I'm not sure if we can share it and show it to the people. Like, I don't know if you can, but I'm sure you can, because they will be just from some Twitter account. That was insane levels, absolutely insane levels. And if he's that quick, like, I love a pacey centre back. He's quite tall. No, he's very tall. 6'3", loves a duel, like a physical duel. His aerial duel success rate isn't as good as it should be for someone who's 6'3". He's very good on the ball. I think he'd be a very, very good project centre back for us. Especially that we're looking for a left-sided one, or left-footed one, I should say, more so. I think he'd be a wonderful acquisition. Wolfsburg wouldn't want too much for him. I think he'd be around the region of about 20 million, which is very doable maximum. But yeah, like Luke says, I'd get him on that video alone. It's quite an insane clip. I don't know if people can confirm that it wasn't sped up. I don't think it was, because it was going around quite a bit from reliable accounts as well. K-Max says he can't head, by the way, terrible in the air. Oh God, that's that then. But look, there's going to be names banded out.
I've just watched it. It's quick.
It's mad.
He's quick. Yeah, it takes a bit of an arcing run as well at one point. So yeah, this guy's got some pace. Surprising though that he's not good in the air, being so
6'3". Yeah, but he likes a duel. He's very physical in the tackle. He's one of those that likes the tackle. And and Cav, I've been saying some wild things this season, but I don't think apart from Konate, the other three centre backs don't love a tackle and a duel. I don't like it, Cav. I want them to be nasty defenders as well as the talent that they've got. Do the nasty and physical side first, and then let the talent do the talking. I feel as though sometimes they want to let the talent do the talking, but don't want to do the nasty side. This guy likes to do the nasty side. Do you remember we had a discussion about that?
Yeah, I remember us talking about it before, and it was Steve who raised a really, really good point, was that when you get to like the elite level of football, as a centre-back, when you're taught to engage with the opposition, not only do you want to win the ball, but actually your thought is, how can I start an attack as well? Or how can I play the next pass? And I feel like that sometimes this season, the players have tried to do that and they've just not got the first part right, as in they've actually just not engaged. They're trying to be too cute. They're trying to be too smart with it, and they're thought too far ahead. I'd like them just to put a challenge in and see where the ball lands and just, deal with the immediate danger and go from there. I feel, Virgil's probably been the one that's come under a lot of sort of criticism for that kind of scenario, whereby he stood off and we've conceded goals because of it. So yeah, I don't know if it's maybe a confidence thing. I don't know if it's trying to be too cute, but certainly it feels like we've conceded soft goals because we could have just, you feel like you could have just put a challenge in. I feel it's a balance though, because I feel like Konate, he does want to sort of win the first ball. But then by doing that, he often gets dragged into midfield, and then you can get played around and stuff. So it's all about timing and decision making as well. You can't have both centre backs doing it. One of you's got to engage, one of you's got to drop off. And it's something that during the title winning season, Gomez and Virgil had really well, down to a T. You'd often see one covering the other. It seemed like Matip and Virgil had a good relationship with it. It's something that just maybe needs to be built on between Virgil and Konate. They both can't stand off, and if one's going to go, what's got cover? So I'm in agreement now. I think we've been a bit soft at times within the challenge. And
do you like the balance that we've got? Like Robbo loves a tackle, Virgil doesn't really engage and doesn't like a tackle. Konate likes the tackle. Trent doesn't really enjoy that aspect or show that aspect. So we have got a kind of symmetrical balance there. I just like Trent, Matip, Gomez, Virgil to be more physical. You know, just I think you don't have to be tackling like Wan-Bissaka going around tackling anything that moves, because then you look like an idiot as well, like while you're on the ground. You know what I mean? But you're right about finding the balance.
Yeah, you have to win. You have to win that first ball. And you can even look at the most recent game, Villa. I mean, you look at how they were able to sort of pass around us and get through us. It's because in 50-50 duels, they were coming out with it. So then they were coming away with the ball and we were giving the foul away. Or they were coming away with the ball and able to play the next pass, which meant your player's body shape's wrong and he's out of position. So they're able to play through you. Whereas if you just win that first engagement, you've got the ball and you then determine how the next phase is going to go. So I think we've been soft at times. I don't know if it's maybe a bit of a ripple effect. You know, we're talking about defenders now, whether it's they're too reluctant to engage because the midfielders are so far away as well. So maybe they see that gap between themselves and the midfielders is so big that actually they'll drop off, and allow the midfielders to get back. But also that's not been particularly great either. So it's something that definitely needs to be worked on. When we've changed the system, the space between the lines has got a lot more compact. So you often see somebody engaging, but when they've engaged, there's often been our teammates that are around the man on the ball as well. So it doesn't matter where the ball falls, the likelihood is you're going to pick it up and start the next phase.
And that's why systems are key. When sort of personnel may be lacking physically, like how many times did we speak about Fabinho looking physically finished, yet the system change enhanced his performance. Don't get it twisted. I don't think he was as great as some are making out, and he was back, but it was much improved. And I think that's down to the system more so than the player's physical attributes coming back to him magically. So look, over 260 of you guys in here. Let's all stop what we're doing and hit that smash button. No, smash the like button. Yeah, that's the right round. I don't need to like that smash button because that wouldn't make sense. So can you smash that
guys,
like button?
If you see the smash button, I think you're on the wrong page and maybe.
Do you know what I mean? Exactly. A couple of super chats to get through. Axe sends in a super chat. Axe71 says, big fan, Grizz, been a subscriber for years. Thank you very much, first and foremost. Would love to hear your views on the players we're linked with. And players we bid for, whether it's on Twitter or on YouTube, for example, Timber, Gravenberch, and Macca. Absolutely, my friend. This show and the next set of shows that we're going to do, the Tic Tac transfer shows, will be all about giving my opinion on the players that we linked with, or opinion on players that I may have heard about myself. So, but I appreciate the support, appreciate the love, and appreciate the super chat. We will definitely be getting into the players that I've heard about this week. Mo sends in a super chat, says, Grizz comparing Sobozalai. First and foremost, appreciate that I've actually learned how to say his name, Mo. Grizz comparing Sobozalai to Hakan is disrespectful. He's top 1% in pressing from midfield, elite dribble numbers, top in Bundesliga for chances created. He's KDB region, can play 8, 10, and right wing. Elite. Mo, that's your opinion, and I absolutely respect and appreciate your opinion. I didn't compare him stylistically in terms of exact playing attributes to Hakan. Shanahoglu, the one who plays for AC Milan, basically. No, he's at Inter Milan, I beg your pardon. He played for AC Milan. One of the greatest free kick takers of recent times. Clean striker of the ball. What I meant to say was Sobozalai, who plays for Leipzig, came from Red Bull, I believe, has a similar striking of the ball technique, which is his best attribute. So that's what I meant. Now, obviously, you've interpreted me to saying that he's like him, player for player. I appreciate Szoboszlai has more to his game than Hakan. Hakan plays more of a withdrawn role, is more of a tempo setter, more deeper. I appreciate Szoboszlai is more final attacking third and attacking a right stroke right winger. So I appreciate and I do know about the differences in styles. I was just talking about the striking of the ball technique. There are rumours, not me, I haven't heard anything of the sort, that Szoboszlai is a player that we'd be looking at as a Mount alternative, as we seem to have cooled off on Mason Mount. Do you think we should be looking at an attack like what he's described there, type player, Cav, if we've pulled out of Mason Mount as well?
Yeah, definitely. A goal scoring midfielder. I think
Yeah.
we've been crying out for that for years, haven't we? But when you look at this new system, if it's what we're going to continue to run with next season, you really feel like there is a spot tailor-made for a midfielder that can get into the box, score from outside of the box and stuff in them sort of 8 positions. We've seen Curtis have a good bit of form and get in on the goals and an assist in there as well. So why can't we find somebody who can contribute in that way on the other side? You know, the side, the position that Henderson's kind of been occupying in recent games. So I certainly would like to see it. And
no more Leipzig midfielders, please. We've not recovered from the last one. Poor Navigator.
Yeah, Naby. Yeah, let's not get into that. But
yeah,
Leipzig. I mean, the whole Red Bull setup. They produce good players, so it's not a bad area to look, really, is it?
Exactly. Saeed says, big up Saeed's in the building, because I missed this. Players that you can scout for us. Listen, you scouted Nunes for us for a long time, and we took him. You scouted Gakpo for us, and we took him off your book. So relax, yeah. We scouted Anthony to take. So yeah, enjoy Anthony, please, and leave Gakpo and Nunes for us. Our very own Bilal says, 70 million euro release clause for Szoboszlai. Yeah, I think we'll park that then if that's the case. Cav, for me, that's way too much for not a priority per se position. 70 million?
It's high, and I don't think for Liverpool, but I think someone might pay it. I think someone might pay that price. I just don't think it will be us with the amount of work we've got to do, because he is a very, very promising young player, and he's one of the names that has been on the scene for a few years now. That people have looked at, and it was a bit of a surprise that he's decided to remain at the Red Bull clubs. But fair play to him, he's obviously progressed in that respect. I think if he doesn't move this summer, I think he will end up at a top club at some point, and it'll probably be around that kind of fee. So
yeah, fair enough. No, I agree with you. Someone will pay that. Mo sends in another super chat. Says Liverpool is second in the league for expected goals, only behind Man City, but we are 14th for goals against, behind West Ham. We need ball winners in midfield. Yeah, that's mad, isn't it? That's mad that we're creating chances, expected goals. That's what it kind of means. How many goals we expect to score. But we're 14th for goals against. That is so unheard of for us, especially how tight and mean we've been. And this is 14th with our player of the season undoubtedly being Alisson, Cav. Can you just imagine? Do you dare imagine where we would have been without Alisson? Wow.
I don't want to think about that, to be honest. I think a few weeks ago, I don't know what the exact position is, but a friend of mine ran the numbers, and he said that would be in the bottom half of the table. I'm sure he said, without Alisson, which is crazy. It really is crazy. He really is. I agree with you, Grizz. Been player of the season for us. I think some people may say Salah still, but certainly for me, Alisson's been.
We'll save that chat for Red Fellas, and we will do a player review, or a squad review, I should say, for the season. So we'll give the awards out on Red Fellas. Ben's in the building. Big up, Ben. Admin for Anfield Talk, and of course he's got his own channel. Ben, put your own channel link in the description, so in the chat, so people can go and follow you as well. Big up, lads. Anybody fancy a Big Mac? Of course, Ben's referencing Alexis McAllister, who's not very big at all. That will be my only gripe, Cav, and I know we've discussed it before, but let's just discuss it before we get into the other links. A very definite link, very definite story emerging. The reliable journalists from Argentina suggesting, and when I say reliable, I'm talking about the Paul Joyces of Argentina, suggesting that Alexis McAllister is on the verge of joining Liverpool. Now, I know we've been here many times before in terms of on the verge. So hopefully it gets over the line. Let's hope that Liverpool agree to the actual package and structure of payments. Alexis McAllister, just a quick view on him, what your thoughts are. I'm very ageist. No, not ageist, heightist. Is there a different word for heightist, or is it just heightist? Like, especially in this Premier League, I do believe you have to have at least 4, 5 foot, 6 foot plus players. That's just me.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, but I think Liverpool. I would like Liverpool to have control in most games, and if the opposition's only threat is from set pieces, I'll take that. Do you know what I mean? We've been bullied in games this season with the ball on the ground, so let's get past that part first. And I think McAllister helps us in that respect. I got to admit, I think he's perfect. I think he's the perfect player. I think his ability on and off the ball is brilliant. He's shown it time and time again this season. I think his mindset, his drive, his ambition, he's been there to see. Obviously, in recent weeks, Brighton have been on our TV screens a bit more, and you get to see some of his interviews and stuff, and he speaks brilliantly well. I think I was watching the Man City game the other week, and I think it was Estepinian that was in on goal, and he sort of fluffed his lines, and the camera kind of just managed to pick McAllister up on the corner of the screen, and he's just barking at him. He's barking at him, and it just goes to show that drive that he got. He wants to win. Obviously he's a World Cup winner, but he is determined to do well and be successful. So I like everything about him. I like players that have that drive, that aggression, but also controlled as well. He's everything he does with an element of control and finesse. So I think he's perfect for us. I think it's surprising that the sort of, now it's confirmed we're not got top 4. The rumours haven't really been that he's deterred in any way. I think he's really on board with the project, if you believe what you're reading. So I think he's perfect. I think he's great. I think he'll fit in straight away. I think he'll fit into the squad on and off the pitch. And I just hope we get this one across the line.
No, I agree with you.
The height thing, I think what we've got to remember as well is that, our 2 centre-backs are tall, regardless of who plays. Our forward is tall, whether it's Gakpo or Nunes. Jota's decent in the air as well. So we do still have height in the team. And we've seen Klopp do this before, where we've come up against teams where it's quite obvious that's their only kind of threat towards us. He'll put in a taller player in his lineup, and you think, why has he done that? And it is to combat the height. So
He done that.
of course, is
He done it in what's the last game we played? He played a very tall team. I think it was for Brentford at home.
Yeah, he put Gakpo in the midfield.
In the midfield, yeah. And I think that was absolutely on the back of, do you remember Brentford away, where I remember me coming back from I think you guys made me do the post-match straight from the ground, and I was still in shock and distraught about sort of the performance and the selection and the tactics. And I remember saying on that post-match, as soon as I saw our team line up, as in stand there against them, I knew we're going to struggle today. Like, sometimes you just know you're going to get bombarded, and that's exactly what happened. Ben's right. There's over 313 in here. Just got the 100th. Like, you lot are slacking. Indeed you are. He also says, Cav, I was told size doesn't matter.
Don't know why. Wait, Ben, why are you aiming that at me, bro?
But here we are. But listen, we're gonna touch upon sort of the rumors and whatnot. Just very quickly, we're gonna go through what Jurgen Klopp had to say at the press conference, and I've got a few of the quotes from our friends at This Is Anfield's website. Very kindly let me use their website, and of course the Salah, we all heard read Salah's post, and he was asked about it. And Jurgen Klopp said, for me, it was clear Man United would get that point. So I drew a line, even though I'm an optimistic person, that's how I see it. It's completely normal in the world of social media. So many bad things happen, and I don't think that's one of them. I saw him now in the canteen and he was smiling. He was not in a bad mood. Of course, there are reasons for optimistic views of the things we showed in the last few weeks. That's definitely the case. Um, I didn't. I'm not sure what the controversy was. I didn't see anything controversial. I saw a man who was very down, who was very disappointed with his maybe definitely the team's performances and overall situation in terms of him being an elite player, not being able to participate in the Champions League.
Yeah, when I first seen it, I was a bit like, oh, top player, sort of putting out a bit of a negative, a bit of a disgruntled kind of statement about missing out on the Champions League. That don't look good. But then you actually read what he says, and I don't think there's much to it. He's kind of just airing his frustrations, and his frustrations match, I think, everybody else's. He's not come out and said, I want to leave because of this and that. And no, it's not along them contexts. It's actually a bit of we've let ourselves down. We should be doing better. And we'll look to sort of rectify our mistakes, kind of thing. So I don't think there's much to it. I just think once a player comes out and says something, there's always then a reaction to it. But I think the detail is nothing serious. And he's right what he said. You know, they shouldn't have been outside the top four. So
I just forgive me. I nearly done one of those what media do and sort of forget the context and overall of what Klopp said. I paraphrased him. Basically, he said after he said that, he said we are still really united, and that's the good thing about it. If you can go through difficult times like we did last season, then that is the basis for a positive future. The dressing room is not in a bad mood. We learned to deal with the situation and didn't get divided or point fingers at each other. So maybe some minority sections of the fan base might have said Salah was trying to point fingers. He wasn't. That's what Klopp was trying to say. He was just disappointed, and that's fine. If you don't qualify for the Champions League, the best possible place you can finish is fifth, and that's what we did. Yeah, look, some people were kind of disheartened and disappointed with even Klopp's comments because Klopp sounded a bit defeatist, they said, or wasn't as angry as he should have been. Like, are you in agreement with that? Like, what use would it be if Klopp shouted and was angry in front of a live room of journalists press conferences? He doesn't need to give them any more headlines than they've got, right?
Yeah, and like he kind of says in that press conference, we just read the lines. He kind of recognized we weren't going to get the top four a while ago, so he's had time to come to terms with this. So he's now not going to be angry, you know, when it's come to sort of fruition. United get the 3 points against Chelsea, and it means we can't get top four. He's known this for a while. It's not a surprise, so he's not going to be angry at this point. And also, he needs to, as the manager, manage the media, manage as fans and the mood around the club. Because if a player's and a big player, probably your biggest player, has come out and aired his frustrations, you can't then combine it with the manager coming out and air his frustrations, because before you know it, there's this whole kind of toxicity going around the club and all this negative kind of atmosphere. So he's come out and kind of rebalanced all of that by saying, yeah, look, we know what's happened, whatever, but we're going to remain positive. So that's fine. You know, as a manager, he needs to do that. There is an element of managing the talk around the club. So I don't think there's anything to it. I wouldn't be as a fan. I'm not frustrated that he's not frustrated. I trust that he understands the severity of what's going on.
For sure. So let's get into the ins and outs and the questions that have arisen around all of that. I guess we'll start off with the loan situation. And he was asked, obviously, can the young players be loaned, or will there be loans going out? And he speaks about there is a possibility that Fabio will go on loan. This was not the best year of his career. It might be more important. No player impressed me more than Fabio. His work ethic will give him a fantastic career. Apart from that, there is no plans that we've basically what it means already. We want to keep them if we can, give them the opportunity to play. We will keep them because they have the quality, definitely. Connor Bradley is coming back and was in the building yesterday. I had a feeling he had grown. We have big hopes for him. We have real talent coming back. The preseason will start and then we will make these kind of decisions. We won't get into the Connor Bradleys on this show and the Sepp Vandenbergs. We'll do a separate show more in depth about the returning players and what we see for them in future-wise. But because he was name-checked and because he was current part of the squad or the last season, Fabio Carvalho was brought in as Championship Player of the Season, young player, Great hopes for him. Just hasn't worked out. He's come into a broken team, however you want to say broken or describe broken. Looks like he'll probably be sent out on loan. Would you have done the same?
The only thing, what I'm thinking is we're playing Europa League. So I think there's opportunity in that competition for perhaps a player like Carvalho to play. I know we have options up front and we can't play everybody in every game. So, you know, he might be sort of seventh choice, and if you consider the 6 forwards we've got. But I think there's minutes he can play. But to be honest, Alone's not going to be a bad thing for him. I would like to see him stay in the Prem though. I don't want to see him go down to the Championship or even lower or even abroad. I think he's good enough to play in the Prem. He was part of that team that got Fulham up to the Premier League. Like you say, he won his accolades in that season as well. It's important that wherever he plays, he gets an education that matches what is going to be expected from him at Liverpool as well. So at Fulham, he kind of played that 10 position, ran off Mitrovic. We don't tend to do that at Liverpool in this system we're playing now. So wherever he goes, is he going to be a left winger? Is he going to be a false nine? What is he going to be? Well, I hope they make that decision at the club that he's loaned to, and then he comes back and plays that same position at Liverpool. Otherwise, it's just going to be when he does come back, another year of adjusting, and that's not really beneficial to anybody. But it's funny that Klopp says, "Oh, he's really impressed." And he's been one of the standout impressors. Well, like, well, obviously not that much because he barely even played, did he? Which is a shame because I think the kid's got talent. You know, I think he can really be something quite special, but just not had the opportunity. I mean, what do you, if you had to pick a club for him, Grizz, where do you think's best for him?
You know what? I look, first and foremost, I agree with your points that you're making, especially the Europa League one. For me, I would say there's 6 games in the Europa League group stages, like guaranteed. That's Fabio Carvalho's. That's Joe Gomez's, for example, will come on to touch. That's, I don't know who else, Stefan Bejitic maybe as well. That's 6 games, like all these young players that are on the verge. Harvey Elliott, these guys. That would have been my outlook. Like they're nailed on. Of course, you need a few experienced heads in there as well. And Fabio Carvalho should have been in that. I agree with you. In terms of a loan move, if he was, it's that team that's on everyone's lips, Cav, Brighton. I think possibly that would be a good shout for him. I don't, Fulham, back to Fulham. I don't know how that would work or how it would look, But I agree with you. I don't want to send him out on loan, to be honest with you, because you're right. That's another year of not learning the system, because that was one of the things that he was not accused of. Accusation's a strong word, but sort of criticized for, in terms of not knowing when to press, how the press worked. And we were sort of disjointed in our attack and our defensive aspect of our pressing as well. So surely he can learn from the likes of Diaz and Jota and all these guys that are back, Mohamed Salah. Surely it would be in his interest. One of my friends told me that he's got it on good authority that he's actually refused to go out on loan in January. He wanted to stay, which shows me the right attitude. Like he was offered a loan if he wants to go out on loan, but he wanted to stay, which suggests to me he may put up another fight in summer and say, no, I don't care if I don't play. I'll stick around and I'll continue to try and learn. I don't know. It's a difficult one. I'm with you, though. I wouldn't.
I wonder if maybe Klopp and the coaching team are just looking at it going, it's another project and we've perhaps got too many projects in this squad. There's loads of individuals that need bedding in. And maybe he's looking at it going, I just simply haven't got the time to put into Carvalho to integrate him. Because when you think about, Diaz coming back, he still needs somewhat integrating into the squad. Nunes still needs to settle. Gakpo's found his feet quite well, but he will still take some time to really reach the heights here. You think of Elliott, another kind of project player, everybody adjusting to Trent being that inverted position. There's a lot of work to do. And I know we do have pre-season, but, you then got individuals like Carvalho and stuff that Klopp maybe feels is just less important and maybe a loan is just kind of like go out, get football elsewhere, and not be my problem for a year. Do you know what I mean? And see where you are when you come back. I mean, it's been suggested in the chat that maybe the loan is just to put him out in the shop window, and you look at him maybe as somebody that you sell in a year's time to make some money back.
I fear if that's the case, that he is sent out on loan, I fear that it may be like what you suggested, or is the chat suggesting that? I fear that that's what's possibly going to happen if he is sent out on loan. But let's see, let's find out. Middlesbrough under Carrick's not a bad shout. Yeah. Did they come up? Yeah, of course they came up. Of course they did. No, they didn't come up. Oh no, of course they didn't. No, Burnley, Burnley's a good shout, because you wouldn't have thought Burnley play the football, but they do under Company. You know, he's totally revitalized the way they play.
And we find out it's Coventry, Luton. Is it?
Yep.
Tomorrow.
Yep. Well, big up my adopted. Well, big up my adopted Luton. Look, 2014, Cav, they were in the Vauxhall Conference. 2014. Skip 9 years, and they're on the verge of becoming a Premier League football club. We've all seen the memes and the gifs and all the videos about the away ground being at the back of people's houses and gardens. But this is a glorious, glorious story. I hope the story completes. Big up my friend itself from Luton. What a segue, what a perfect time. He goes, Grizz, has anyone got a double XL Luton top to lend me for tomorrow? Because he's actually going to Wembley to support the Mad Hatters. Big up, it's a good luck tomorrow, man. My prayers and thoughts will be with you guys. Luton's a mad story, Kev.
Yeah, that the rise that the youth they've had over that 9 years, like you said, is incredible, and it's fun to see not new teams, but newer teams into the league. It's going to be interesting if Coventry come up though, watching the players come through somebody's house just to get on the pitch. I mean, I'm not sure how that's going to go down, but it's fun, isn't it? Like, it's something different, so I'm here for it.
This is what KMax says. Luton might not be able to play in the Premier League as the ground is not fit for TV. Look, they will need a lot of money spent on that. Nurbitz is in the building. He says, "What did I miss, lads? You're embarrassing. You are. What did you miss? You've missed 47 minutes of great Liverpool chat, and you're supposed to be, part of the channel." Tamiz is in the building. Big up Tamiz all the way from Brunei. He says, "Salam and big up, lads. No, you guys talked about it. But the draw versus Villa, not what I wished for. Birthday last Sunday. I'm so sorry about that, but happy birthday, belated. Anyways, here's a donation as an appreciation. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And thank you very much for the love and support. Cav, pretty much that was all said about sort of in terms of, this is the line that caused a bit of a stir on Twitter, as it does. He was asked about summer business as you do. And he said, and they were asked about, are you expecting to do quick business? And he replied, it's always possible that things don't go as quick as you want. In fact, it is likely because the better the player, the less the club wants to let him go. In an ideal world, they all sign tomorrow and I can tell them when they start. He does later on go on to say, we are prepared to wait for the right player, even if it takes 5-6 weeks. Some people have interpreted that as saying, oh God, looks like we have to wait until the end of the window to find out who we're signing or if we're going to sign. And therefore, if we're leaving it to the end of the window, like we done in the last window, and then those players don't turn up or don't come up, we're going to be left stranded again. I think the comments are taken a bit out of context. If you watch it, he said something different. He said something along the lines of, we're prepared to, because the better the player you go for, the more patient you have to be, which is common sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the truth. Yeah, he's not said anything that's particularly wild.
That's just common sense. He doesn't get
Yeah. I think this is just fans' anxiety that we might go so long, miss out on a player, and end up getting somebody that we don't particularly want.
Don't get me wrong. We have history of effing up, so I get all of that 100%. Would you agree? We have we have got history of it.
Yeah, and obviously now with that Champions League football, I think that kind of adds to that. You think that maybe we're going for a player and we put a lot of groundwork in, and then they ultimately have a better option elsewhere with the team in the Champions League, and we're left sort of looking at our second, third choices, and how much does that really help us? I think the important thing for me is I would like all the business done just before pre-season, so that the squad that we take away with us on that tour is the squad that's going into the following season. So there's no excuses for starting the season poorly. Everybody should know the system. Hopefully everybody's fit, ready, and we know what team, or we can kind of have a good guess as to what starting 11 is going to be going into that first game. So I wouldn't like for it to roll on past pre-season, because then you're really squeezing players in, and it don't really work out all that well. So 100%. Yeah, what pre-season starts, chat, remind me, I think it's start of July, is it?
I'm sure they get a couple of weeks off. Minimum month off.
Oh, they get 2 to 3. Minimum. Yeah, get 2 or 3 weeks off, don't they? Yeah. So maybe middle of June. Yeah. So we got a bit of time.
Yeah. So we have got a bit of time. Before I get into some of the rumours, I think we've left them lingering long enough, Cav. Before we get into the rumours, I think we've built up very nicely. 350 of you guys in here. Amazing for a Friday night. Amazing for an impromptu stream. I literally messaged Cav 7:30. I don't think he was in. And I said, let's do this. I've got a couple of things that I want to get off my chest and speak about. So big up Cav, big up all of you in the chat. Make sure you've liked and subscribed if you haven't already done so. Philippe H, our resident Newcastle fan, big up Philippe. Congratulations, first and foremost, Philippe, on reaching the Champions League final. It's massive, it's huge, and I'm going to say it's deserved. A lot of Liverpool fans don't like saying that or whatever. I can't give a shit. I think it's deserved. I think your manager has done a wonderful job. So that's what I wanted to say first and foremost. After last summer, I get why a lot of LFC fans are nervous going into the summer. If they sign 3 midfielders and a centre-back, they come second, in my opinion. No excuses for FSG. Couldn't agree more with you. No excuses for FSG. I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with what me and Cav were just talking about, that we have got history, and I understand why they're nervous, and I understand the negative pessimism. But I also agree, if they sign the 3 midfielders and a centre-back, the minimum we come is second next season. We will come back again. Appreciate the support, appreciate the love. Dutch is in the building. A for Arsenal, love to you, Grizz. Thank you very much, Dutch. Big up yourself. Another member of the Brown Monday team. Okay, Cav, I tweeted this morning, or this, can't remember what time it was. What time was it? 3:08 p.m. So I had been told that we have approached Timber, Jurriën Timber and Gravenberch about last week or the week before, can't remember when it was, that we have made an official inquiries. Now there's loads of rumors and everything, but we've made official inquiries for these 2 players. Today I was told that they have been rebuffed for now. Their initial responses have been no, which is, again, absolutely normal. That's how business works. You make an initial inquiries, response, offer, a bid or whatever, for anything, a car, house, anything, and then you negotiate. So nothing to panic about. I'm not saying we will 100% get them. I'm not saying we 100% won't get them. I'm just relaying what I was told. And this guy who tells me spits, as you guys will know, who have been following me for a little while, does get a lot right, far more than wrong. And of course, you can get things wrong. Like, how many times have we seen reliable, fully paid, pledged journalists get stuff wrong? So it's all part of the dance. It's all absolutely normal. But the interesting part, and everyone probably knows about the incomings and the names linked, but the interesting part that I added to that was the other bit of news, Cav. Probably start off with that. West Ham made an approach for Joe Gomez, also rebuffed for now. We've discussed Joe Gomez to death as well this summer or this winter and coming up as well. What's your thoughts on the situation around the Joe Gomez situation, I guess?
I thought this for a while, actually. I think it would be beneficial for all parties if Joe does move on, to be honest. I feel like he's probably not going to get the consistent amount of games to build that confidence back up at Liverpool. I think that he's he's going to be, I think he can still play in the Prem. I think he'll be a good player for a Prem team. I think he'll get consistent games and really build his career again and build his performance, because you see it with him when he plays for Liverpool. He can have a few good games. He makes one mistake and he kind of implodes a little bit. If he goes somewhere, a club that's a bit lesser than Liverpool, the pressure on him will be less so he can make that mistake, but also then have less pressure to come back from it. So I think it'll be good for all parties. The only downside is, we do have to have this homegrown thing in our back of our minds as well. And obviously Joey being an English lad and stuff, he qualifies for that homegrown thing. So I'm not sure if it's the best summer for him to go. Thinking about price as well. I'm not sure what you think he can go for, Grizz. I don't, certainly football wise, he's not played loads, so I don't think his stock will be at the highest. But he signed a contract not too long ago, so that kind of aids things a little bit. What fee would you expect, and what would you like for Gomez if he's going to go?
So I didn't tweet the figures that I heard, but I'll tell my viewers and my loyal subscribers and viewers, and of course you and friend, the numbers that I heard were they offered 20 million. West Ham offered 20 million, and we totally rejected that. We're looking, if we were to consider, in my opinion, we're looking at 40 million plus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I personally would sell him, but I would sell him for around that figure, as close as. I personally would sell Matip and Gomez. I understand the homegrown issue. I understand that's a lot of work to do. That's 3 midfielders, 2 centre backs. But this is where we find ourselves. This is where we are right now. This is as a result of not evaluating the areas that needed buffing up appropriately. And so therefore now we need to do 4-5. If the case was, if we were to accept a bid for Joe Gomez, I can imagine there being a lot of interest in Joe Gomez, far more than Joe Matip, because of the age, because of the injury, because of the homegrown situation, and the contract situation as well. Joe Gomez has got a longer contract, but Matip, I'd sell both, Cav. Maybe I'm being reactionary and reactive. I don't think I am. I think they've done very well for us, served us amazingly and brilliantly. I just think I would go for Gravenberch Timber, who's been linked, Inacio of Sporting Lisbon's been linked, and the Dutch fella at Wolfsburg, who's been linked. I'd take 2 out of those 3 to replace Gomez and Matip. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and I think as well, when you think about our first choice centre backs in Van Dijk and Konate, they're 2 brilliant defenders. So, we're losing the sort of backup options, even though they've been good for us. So we should be fine with that. I think with Gomez, it's like, I think he's 26 now. And I think really you have to think about how good he can really be. What's his ceiling now? Because I think years gone by, certainly sort of when we won that title, it looked as though he could go on to be, one of the best centre backs around Europe. But I would assess him more now as maybe a Premier League, a good Premier League defender. I don't think he's going to be somebody that would play for the top clubs. And I just don't think you get the consistency out of him, fitness wise and performance wise. So that's why I think at some point you do have to move on and try a new option. And it's probably a bad time to do it because you've got so much work to do in midfield, but a good time to do it because you have 2 good centre backs ahead of him as well. So if the price is right, I would probably take it. And like you say, go for one of the names you've suggested. Matip, he's been brilliant and he can give you the good games, the odd game, he could maybe put 5 good performances together or what have you. Not that he'll play 5 consistent games. But we're talking about preparing a squad that's going to go and hopefully play 60 games next season or around that. How much can Matip really benefit us in that respect or contribute in that respect? I think we probably need to just move on from these kind of players now. And this is part of freshening up. I know some people in the chat, fans online and stuff, might be upset at the thought of losing Gomez and Matip because they're brilliant people. They've been brilliant for us. They're They're good. They're great people off the pitch and stuff as well. Matip's brought a lot of humour and all sorts. Gomez is such a humble, down to earth guy, and you like to have these people in your squad. But at some point, you do have to freshen it up and move on. So if either of them go, I don't think they'll both go, but I think maybe one could go this summer. I'd be all right with that.
I think definitely one will go. I just think Gomez may get a reprieve because of the homegrown situation, even though he'd raised the more money. But West Ham's bid, I know that was rejected straight away. But I do know, I think internally we would accept 40 million. And I'd bite your hands off personally.
Probably the right club though. West Ham.
Yeah.
That's
someone's mentioned Brighton, because Colwell's going back to Chelsea. That would be a very good shout as well, Brighton, Joe Gomez, and especially if we're trying to keep relations good and clean and everything with them, especially with the Lallana, Milner, and then hopefully McAllister coming the other way. So yeah, that would be a good shout. Scott sends in a super chat. Appreciate the support. He says, why are we not in for South American players? I'm sure he doesn't mean South African players. Ari, Ugarte, Varela, who are internationals before they leave. City got Alvarez for 22 million. Also not a fan of Ajax players in the EPL. I don't know why we aren't in for South American players. I'm trying to think of South American players that we have had recently, and they've all been a relative success. Of course, Coutinho, Maxi Rodrigo, Suarez, just to name a few at the top of my head. Fabinho, Alisson, of course, the Brazilian lads. So we do go for South American players, Scott. I think there's a lot of frustration just because Ugarte's popped up, and as I said on previous shows, not that I hear everything, but I hadn't heard his name from the Liverpool circles, from the Liverpool side. I know there was a lot of murmurings from the foreign journalists about Ugarte, and I was hoping that we get him because I'm a fan of his, but I didn't want to comment on it until I heard it from my people at Liverpool side of things. So they were never, I don't think we were as hot for him as him and his agent were hot for us, if you know what I mean. But look, I wanted him for sure. So that's why I didn't want to ridicule the rumor or say, oh no, because I wanted him. I genuinely wanted him. He's the kind of profile that we need, a hard tackling. I called him a Mascherano, Kev, and we all know how brilliant Mascherano was for us.
Yeah. The sort of player that we need is somebody like him, whereby not just a good winner of the ball, good in the challenge, covers the pitch well, but actually once they've got it, they can carry it, or they can play the ball and keep the tempo going. So yes, he's a defensive-minded midfielder, but they need other elements to their game as well. And he's one of those that has kind of demonstrated that this season, obviously, in the Portuguese league. So, I'm not going to profess to have watched him week in, week out, but from what I have seen, he's a player that I like the look of as well. So it's a bit of a shame that Liverpool don't seem to be too interested in him, but you like to think that's because they're looking elsewhere and they feel like they've got better options.
Absolutely. Ben says we are literally about to sign a South American World Cup last month. There is a small matter of that as well. So yeah, look, I get it. People get frustrated if the player that they want doesn't get sort of signed or interested. There was another question, I can't remember. Yeah, Ben again says, who would you bring in centre-back wise? Mark Gahey of Crystal Palace. I'm not the biggest fan myself. Don't know if you've seen much of him.
Yeah, I think his season before this season was better. I think him and who's the left back for Palace?
Mitchell.
Yeah. Tyrese Mitchell.
Yeah,
Tyrese Mitchell, is that his name? I think they both had maybe not better seasons, but I think they stood out more for me in that year prior to this one. And I was looking at them as potential options. But Gahey I think he's been up and down this season. I think it's because he's English and he's still young that suddenly people start to consider him an option. But quality-wise, not too sure, to be honest, at the level we want to be at.
If you give me a blank checkbook, No, actually, not even. Forget the blank checkbook because I don't believe in all that. I hate all that. I don't care about the price. For me, Inacio would be my first choice of Sporting Lisbon. That's just me, my personal favorite choice. This Wolves centre back is actually catching my eye, though. The more I see of him, the more I've looked him up, the more I ask Bundesliga fans about. He is catching my eye. So I think that's one to keep an eye on. People are mentioning the Southampton centre backs, Bella Kocha and Salisu, and yeah, I guess they're an option. They will 100% be an option, especially if now that Southampton have gone down. But yeah, channel member, big up yourself. Scott says we need mad dogs in midfield. We are a bit soft these days. Too many technical players. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, fella. 100%. We're too soft. We've discussed that, and we'll continue discussing that until we get some mad dogs like you described them in midfield. But that's about it, guys. As I said, early days in the season. In fact, the window hasn't even opened yet. There's a lot of chat around McAllister. We expect McAllister to be probably the first signing through the door. I do expect further progression to be made on Timber and Gravenberch, but let's see how it goes. And then after that, we've got so much to talk about. You asked me the question at the start of the show, Cav. Like, am I looking forward to the break? And to answer your question, I am actually having a few weeks off, like 90 minutes. We're getting paid leave in June, so that should be interesting. We've actually, but no rest for the wicked. Come end of the June, well, 20th of June, we're actually flying out to New York. A bit of an exclusive for you guys. The Big Six. Don't know if you guys are fans or been following me on there. The Big Six. We're flying out to New York for some work to do with Fox Sports. That's all I can say right now. So that should be quite something to look forward to. Hopefully, we've had a couple of signings through the door, and no doubt me and Cav or someone else from the Football Carnage team will be here to talk about it. So yeah, thanks for coming on at such short notice, Cav.
Yeah, no, it's been good. It's been good. Looking forward to doing this show more regularly throughout the summer as we get linked to players or players come in the door. Anybody that we're really, really close to or gets announced or whatever, we'll go into depth on them, and we'll have a look at what they've done, their profile, what we think
what they bring to us.
Liverpool. Yeah, and we'll do all that. So yeah, guys in the chat, thanks for coming along and stick along with us. I think it's going to be a good summer of content. I think big summer for Liverpool, which means it's going to be a big summer for us as well. So yeah, looking forward to it, and it's been good. Get the first one out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Been a brilliant response. Been a brilliant support from you guys. Smash like on your way out. We have a new intro that Noor has made for me. That's why he popped into the studio. I have not seen this intro or outro, so I am leaving it in the hands of Noor to hopefully this outro is not going to get me in trouble in any way, shape, or form. But people, love and support. That's me and Cav on the Tic Tac Transfer Show. Peace, love, tranquility.